I bet the majority of the people in this room prefer watching men playing basketball while women acting as a dance team, as a use of decoration, let's say. Why is women basketball so underrated? What differentiates men and women? This is what I don't understand. Ever since the sport was created in 1891 by Professor James Naismith in order to keep his students occupied during the cold winters in Massachusetts, women were not given equal rights as men. Rules were different, dress codes were different, and the overall attitude to adopt was different. But I'm here to show you that there is a way things can change. There is a way that one day, women and men will get the same rights in basketball. I myself played the sport, and even though I didn't personally live in the early 1900s, I can assure you that women and men basketball was very different then, and the differences are still seen today. Women started playing only a year after the sport was created, and because of the long dresses they wore, the only parts of their bodies exposed could be their fingers, their necks, and their heads. This then evolved into them wearing bloomers, divided skirts, and then finally, shorts. Rules were also different then. For example, women couldn't take more than 3 dribbles, they couldn't call each other by their last name, and they had to have neatly combed hair. And these types of rules were imposed in order to help prevent a young lady from developing nervous and dangerous tendencies and losing their grace and dignity. But over time, things started to change. Things started to evolve. Women started to self-govern their basketball competitions. They started to play with men rules, and nowadays, women basketball is actually getting TV ratings. Now though, let's answer the real question. In which way should women basketball change for the future generation of female athletes? Firstly, do you know the difference in the salary between an average male basketball athlete and an average female basketball athlete? Well, an average male basketball athlete makes around $6.2 million a year, while an average female basketball athlete makes around $75,000 a year. I remember reading on the news this summer about a team in the WNBA, which is the women's league, that couldn't make it to a game and consequently lost the game because of a flight delay, on a commercial flight that is. In the NBA, teams have their own private jets and they can only dream of getting late to a game. Another aspect that should change is the popularity of the women's side of the sport. Well, this obviously doesn't depend only on me, but I just wanted to point out that a male college basketball game averages around 15,000 fans, while female college basketball game averages only around 3,150 fans. That's a big difference, right? Talking about college basketball, the NCAA Division I tournament represents the highest collegiate level of the sport in the United States. And while for men there are plenty of channels covering the so-called March Madness, women are not nearly giving as much coverage as men are. One last aspect that should change is the number of teams and players in the NBA compared to the WNBA. In the NBA, there are 30 teams and around 494 players, while in the WNBA, there are only 12 teams and around 144 players. A stereotype is formed when thinking about women playing basketball, or I guess any sport in general. Oh, she's a girl, she won't run as fast, she won't perform as well as men do. The overall sport is boring with women. And yes, I as well agree with the fact that watching men playing basketball is a lot more entertaining than watching women, but this is only to one extent. Women definitely don't make the game boring, they just make it interesting in their own way. Okay, the points scored may be less, and also, women don't dunk. In the 21 years of the WNBA, only 20 dunks, 15 by a current WNBA player, were scored, and the first one being in 2002. And that was a really big deal. Also, the reporter was in disbelief. But women definitely know how to shoot, they know how to dribble, they know how to invent crazy layups. And some women definitely know the game better than some men in the men's league today. NBA players themselves took a stand on the problem with the difference between the two leagues. Players such as Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Stephen Curry stated, quote, "I learn a little bit from them as well, and they make the game extremely exciting to watch." Knowing that these NBA players actually think this about the WNBA makes me believe even stronger about what can be achieved in the women's side of the sport in the near future. So my point is, don't think that it will be easy for women to have the same rights as men in basketball, but do believe that one day it will happen. One day we will hear about the first women in the NBA, and we will hear about how women will get sold-out games on a regular basis. So please believe and think about what you can do, because I know that this will then help with helping the bigger problem of gender equality in sports. Thank you.